I was just looking at my desktop this morning, just staring at it.
Uh-huh.
The start button, the icons, all of it. It's like the furniture of our digital lives, right?
Right?
We use it every single day, but we never really look underneath to see how it's actually built.
It's just there. It's the background radiation of the modern world. For most people, Windows isn't even software. It's just the computer.
Exactly. If the screen turns on and the mouse moves, we're happy.
Right.
But today, we're not just looking at the surface. We're grabbing a wrench and popping the hood.
Yeah.
Because it turns out Windows isn't one thing. It's this massive, complex ecosystem.
It really is.
You've got different editions that decide what you can do, different architectures that control how fast you can go, and then the licensing rules, which are, well, frankly, they're a bit of a minefield.
And it's not just, technical trivia. These differences dictate whether your data is safe, whether your company can manage your laptop, or even if you can install software you actually paid for.
Right. So we've been combing through a stack of technical training materials, specifically from the CompTIA plus Core 1 and 2 curriculum, to try and decode the decisions Microsoft makes for us. And honestly, some of these are wild.
They really are. It all comes down to understanding the machine you're using. Whether you're a power user building a gaming rig or just someone trying to figure out why your laptop won't upgrade to Windows 11.
Okay, so let's unpack that. I want to start with the thing that hits our wallets first. You go online, you see two laptops. They look identical. Same screen, same processor. But one says Windows Home and the other says Windows Pro. The Pro one costs more.
Mm-hmm.
Is there actually a difference, or is this just marketing?
Oh, there is a huge difference. But here's the secret. The actual code on the hard drive, it's pretty much the same. The difference is what the license unlocks. It's like a class system.
A class system? That sounds a little ominous.
It sort of is. Think of Windows Home as the standard, consumer tier. It's for you, on your couch, watching Netflix, maybe playing a game.
The basics.
The basics. But the training manuals point out some fascinating artificial limits. For instance, Windows Home generally only supports one physical CPU.
One CPU. Hang on. My gaming PC has a multi-core processor. I paid a lot for those cores.
Yeah.
Are you telling me Home is turning them off?
No, don't panic. It supports multiple cores on one chip, but it only supports one physical socket on the motherboard.
Oh, a socket.
Yeah, so if you were building a crazy high-end workstation with two separate physical processors plugged in, Windows Home would just ignore the second one.
It just gives it the cold shoulder.
Completely. And then there's the memory. The documentation notes Windows Home is limited to 128 gigabytes of RAM.
128 gigs. I mean, who is hitting that limit? My browser eats RAM for breakfast, but 128 seems like an ocean.
For 99% of users, it is, but that's the point. It's an artificial ceiling to separate the casual user from the professional, because when you step up to Windows Pro, that ceiling just vanishes.
So what does Pro get me then?
Well, for one, it supports two physical CPUs, and the RAM limit jumps to 2 terabytes.
2 terabytes of RAM. That's just an obscene amount of memory.
It's server-grade territory. But really, most people buying Pro aren't doing it for the RAM. They're paying for what we call the killer features that are locked away in Home. And the big one is BitLocker.
BitLocker. I've seen that name pop up. It sounds like something that stops me from torrenting.
It's actually your best friend if you value your privacy. It's full drive encryption. Let me give you a scenario. You leave your laptop in a taxi. With Windows Home and a standard password, a thief can pull out that hard drive, plug it into another machine, and read every single file.
Seriously, my login password doesn't protect the drive itself.
Not if they physically remove it, no. But with Pro and BitLocker, that whole drive is scrambled with complex math. Without the key, the data is just noise. The thief has a paperweight, but your life is safe.
Okay, wow. That alone feels like it justifies the upgrade. That's real peace of mind.
It is. But for the business world, for the IT crowd, the real reason they buy Pro is something called Domain Join.
Domain Join. Sounds like I'm joining a cult.
In a way, you are. And think of Windows Home as a work group. Every computer is an island, a solitary bee. It manages itself.
Right.
Windows Pro lets that computer join a domain, which is usually controlled by a server. Think of it as a hive mind.
A hive mind.
Exactly. The queen bee, the server, sends a command, and every computer in the domain instantly obeys.
So you can change the wallpaper on 500 computers at once.
Enforce a password policy. Done. You just can't do that with Home.
So Home is for the rugged individualist. Pro is for the obedient worker bee.
Or the efficiently managed fleet. It's all about scale. And speaking of scale, You've got the top of the food chain, Windows Enterprise.
And I assume I can't just walk into a store and buy a copy of Windows Enterprise.
No, you won't find it on a shelf. It's sold through volume licensing. This is for the huge players, multinational corporations, hospitals, governments. It takes everything in Pro and adds heavy-duty tools like App Blocker.
App Blocker. Let me guess. It locks apps.
It's a whitelist. And this is massive for security. Normally, if you download an .exe file, you can probably run it. App Blocker flips that. It says, unless the IT admin explicitly said this app is allowed, it will not run. Period.
Wow. So even if I accidentally download some ransomware, App Blocker just says, nope, you're not on the list.
Exactly. It stops the execution before it even starts. It's incredible for places like hospitals or banks where stability is everything.
That makes a ton of sense. Now, I did find something in the notes that confused me. There are these versions called like Windows 10 Home N. Just the letter N. What's that for? New. No.
It basically stands for not with media player. It's a really fascinating piece of history that exists solely because of the European Union.
Wait, the EU government is designing Windows versions now.
They're regulating them. Years ago, the EU ruled that Microsoft bundling media player was an antitrust violation. So they forced Microsoft to release a version without any of their media software. No media player, no Groove Music, no voice recorder.
So you buy the OS, and it can't play a video file out of the box. Why would anyone buy that?
Most people don't, unless they have to. Or a corporation buys it and deploys their own media software. It's a great example of how legal battles literally change the code on your disk.
Politics in the code. I love it.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the additions. But underneath that, there's this whole architecture thing, 32-bit versus 64-bit. I feel like this has been a debate for 20 years. Are we still fighting this war?
The war is over, 64-bit won. But it's really important to understand why it won, because it comes down to a fundamental math problem.
That math problem.
It's about how many memory addresses the computer can count. A 32-bit operating system, sometimes called by86, has a hard limit. Think of it like a phone book with only enough pages for about 4 billion names.
Which translates to
4 gigabytes of RAM. That's the hard ceiling.
4 gigs. My phone has more than that. I mean, if you try to run a modern PC on 4 gigs, it's just going to crawl.
It's going to choke. You open a few browser tabs, a spreadsheet, and you're done. The system starts swapping to the hard drive, which is painfully slow. It's a huge bottleneck.
So 64-bit is the bigger phone book.
It's a phone book the size of the Galaxy. The theoretical limit is 16 exabytes. That's 16 billion gigabytes.
Okay, so we're safe for a while.
For lifetimes. But it's not just about RAM anymore. It's about security. A lot of modern security features depend on the 64-bit architecture. That's why Windows 11 has basically said goodbye to 32-bit.
So if you have an old 32-bit machine, it's not just slow, it's insecure.
Exactly. It's obsolete.
But if I have 64-bit Windows, can I still run my old 32-bit apps?
Oh, yeah, you're fine. 64-bit Windows has a translation layer. It can run the old stuff. But, and this is key, a 32-bit OS can't run 64-bit apps. It's a one-way street.
Got it. Okay, so 64-bit is the standard. Now I want to pivot to something that makes everyone's head hurt. Licensing. Not home versus pro, but the idea of ownership. When I buy a PC, do I actually own Windows?
Well, own is a strong word in software. You own a license to use it. And the type of license really defines your relationship with the hardware. There are 3 main types: OEM, retail, and digital.
Let's start with OEM. I see that on stickers on new laptops.
OEM is original equipment manufacturer. It's the license you get with a Dell or an HP. It's the cheapest license, but it comes with a very strict rule. That license is married to the motherboard.
Married to the motherboard. That sounds permanent.
It is, till death do them part. If your motherboard fries or you decide to build a new PC and want to move that copy of Windows over, you can't. The license dies with that original hardware.
So it's part of the wreckage. You can't salvage it.
Exactly. Contrast that with a retail license.
Yeah.
You pay full price for it. That license is yours. You can install it on one PC, use it for a few years, then uninstall it and move it to a completely new machine. It's portable.
So you're paying a premium for the right to take it with you.
You are. And nowadays, most of this is handled by a digital license tied to your Microsoft account, which is a lot easier. But the principle is the same. With OEM, the hardware owns the software. With retail, you own the software.
That's a great way to put it. And that idea of hardware owning the software leads perfectly into the Windows 11 controversy.
Right.
When it dropped, so many people were told, sorry, your computer's fast, it works, but you can't install this.
The gatekeepers. Yes, that was a huge shift. Microsoft drew a hard line in the sand about security hardware.
I just remember the panic. Everyone was scrambling to figure out if they had a TPM What even is that?
TPM is the Trusted Platform Module. And unlike most of what we've talked about, it isn't software. It's a physical chip. It's a little vault soldered right onto your motherboard.
A vault. What's inside it?
Cryptographic keys, passwords, encryption data. The whole idea is that even if a hacker infects your Windows installation, they can't access the physical TPM chip.
This is hardware-level defense.
Precisely. And Windows 11 requires TPM version 2.0. If you don't have that chip, or you have an old one, no Windows 11 for you.
And what about Secure Boot? That was the other big hurdle.
Secure Boot works with the TPM. Think about the old days. You turn on a PC, the BIOS just blindly loads whatever code it finds first on the hard drive.
It was too trusting.
Very trusting. If a virus overwrote your bootloader, the BIOS would just load the virus. It didn't know any better. Secure Boot changes that. It checks the digital signature of the operating system before loading it. It asks, are you actually Microsoft Windows? Can you prove it?
And if the signature doesn't match?
The system just refuses to boot. It stops the infection before it can even wake up.
So while people complained, Microsoft was really trying to eliminate an entire class of attacks that software alone just can't fix.
That's the argument, yes.
Okay, so let's say I've got the TPM, I have Secure Boot, my license is good, I'm ready to install. And I get hit with another choice. Format the drive as MBR or GPT. This feels like the VHS versus beta of hard drives.
It is, and choosing wrong has some pretty big consequences. MBR, Master Boot Record, is the old standard. It's been around since the early 80s.
The 80s. That's prehistoric in tech years.
It is, and it shows its age. MBR has a maximum drive size of 2.2 terabytes.
Wait, really? So if I buy a shiny new 4 terabyte drive for all my games and format it as MBR...
You'll only see 2.2 terabytes. The rest of that space is just invisible, unusable.
That is a tragic waste of expensive space.
It gets worse. MBR stores the map of your partitions in one single spot at the very beginning of the disk.
One spot.
One spot. Imagine a library where the entire catalog is on a single index card at the front desk. If that card gets corrupted, the library is lost. Your data is effectively gone.
That sounds incredibly fragile, so I'm guessing GPT is the fix.
GPT or GUID partition table is the modern standard. It supports drives so big we don't have names for them yet, zettabytes. But the real game changer is redundancy.
That makes copies.
It stores a copy of that index card at the beginning and at the very end of the drive. If the main one gets corrupted, GPT just looks at the backup and repairs itself.
So MBR is a single point of failure. GPT is self-healing.
Exactly. And to use that secure boot feature we talked about, you have to use GPT. They go hand in hand. The Windows 11 installer will just stop you if you try to use an MBR drive.
Good to know. Don't cling to the past. Okay, we've covered the home user, but I want to zoom out. Imagine you're an IT manager. You've got 500 new laptops. You are not walking around with 500 USB sticks.
Definitely not. You'd be there until the next version of Windows comes out. This is where enterprise deployment comes in.
So how do the pros do it?
They use the network. The training modules talk about something called PXE boot. That's pre-boot execution environment.
PXE. How does that work if the computer has no OS?
It's built into the network card. Think of a new computer like a baby bird. It wakes up, realizes it's empty, and sends out a little distress beacon to the network saying, "Help, I have no brain, I need an OS."
A distress beacon, I like that.
And the server hears that beacon and replies, "Here, catch." It streams the installation files right over the network.
That's amazing. But wait, you still have to sit there and click Next and Accept and pick the time zone.
Ah, not if you use an answer file.
An answer file. That sounds like a cheat sheet for a test.
That's exactly what it is. It's a text file, usually called unattend.xml, that contains the pre-written answer to every single question the installer is going to ask.
So you're scripting the entire conversation.
Yes. The installer asks what language. The file says English. What's the admin password? Here's the encrypted hash. Do you accept the license? Yes.
So the IT person can literally press a button, walk away, get a coffee, and the computer just installs itself.
It's called zero-touch deployment. You unbox the PC, plug it in, turn it on, and walk away. When you come back, it's at the login screen, fully configured. It's magic.
That is the dream.
Yeah.
A long way from swapping floppy disks.
It really highlights the journey, right? We started with the box on the shelf, Home versus Pro, and we've gone down into the hardware vaults of the TPM, through the self-healing partitions of GPT, all the way to this automated Hivemind deployment.
It really is a sophisticated machine.
Yeah.
But you know, there's one thought I can't shake.
Yeah.
We talked about App Blocker and Secure Boot. The source material also mentioned S Mode, where you can only install apps from the Microsoft Store.
All right, locking it down even tighter.
It feels like the trend is pretty clear. The OS is becoming more
Yeah.
opinionated.
Yeah.
It's safer, yes. Harder to break. But are we moving toward a future where the user, the person who actually paid for the thing, has less and less control over their own machine in exchange for that safety?
That is the central tension of modern computing, isn't it? The most secure computer is one the user can't change. But is that still a personal computer? Or is it just a terminal for a service? That's the real question.
A little something to chew on next time you boot up. And hey, speaking of that, do yourself a favor. Type system information into your search bar today. See if you're running UEFI. Check if Secure Boot is on. It's strangely satisfying to know what's happening in the basement of your own digital house.
Knowledge is power, especially when it's your own machine.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.